Hey everybody, my name is Emily Oakley, and today I'm going to be talking about the documentary that I watched called Minimalism, a documentary about the important things. Minimalism is a concept that can take many forms. However, the form highlighted in this film is where individuals choose to live with limited belongings. They claim this way of life has allowed them to have greater mental clarity, and it rejects the consumer culture that marketing agencies make individuals feel that they need to be a part of. The documentary uses a variety of strategies in order to sell the viewers on this concept and encourage them to implement minimalism into their own lives. To start, I'm going to compare two different audio clips that the directors use in order to create a calming connotation towards minimalism and a chaotic one towards consumerism. The first clip is of the housing market crash several years ago, and the second is of two minimalists relaying their own experiences.
We're just getting hammered this morning.
We're down by between 3 and 4.5% generally across these markets. Let's talk about the speed with which we are watching this market deteriorate.
It was the worst day on Wall Street since the crash of 1987.
This could be the most serious recession in decades. And that means life, as most Americans know it, is about to change, in some cases dramatically.
Imagine a life with less stuff, less clutter, less stress and debt and discontent, a life with fewer distractions. Now imagine a life with more time, more meaningful relationships, more growth and contribution and contentment. So it's funny because people will inevitably come up to us and they'll be like, "Now I'm not a minimalist like you. I've got this book collection. I love books, and I've got a nice big library, and I love the way the books smell. I love turning the pages. I love how they feel. I love lending them out to my friends, and then we talk about the books later." And I'm like, hey, keep your books. It sounds like you get a lot of value out of your books. And that's what I would say with any type of collection.
As you can see, in the first clip, there is some very intense background music paired with the concerned voices of newscasters. Additionally, there are very quick transitions between each of the newscasters' clips. This creates a sense of intensity for the viewer. When comparing this to the second audio clip, there's a very clear difference. In the second selected segment of the audio clips, when the two men are presenting about minimalism, there's a very calm atmosphere. And this is because there is no excess noises. There is no background music, only the natural noises occurring in the moment that the film is taken. So when the documentary focuses on consumerism, they utilize intense background music in order to create some sense of clutter. However, when they talk about minimalism, they utilize lessened background music in order to create a clean and calm atmosphere, which are actually the selling points of minimalism itself, where minimalism can create a free and clarifying atmosphere instead of one's life and allow them to escape the busy cloud that is consumerism. So these audios reflect the concepts that minimalism tries to seek to reflect. So the audience unconsciously feels more at ease when hearing about minimalism and more on edge when hearing about consumerism, which just persuades them to agree with the ideas that minimalism creates a calming environment as they're feeling this instead of the duration of the film. The next clip will demonstrate a visual strategy that the directors utilized in order to influence the audience to accept and appreciate minimalism. The clip is environmentally focused.
Whole. I want to feel content. This mindless consumption, this same thing that's not making us happy is also causing the degradation of our habitat. We can afford to have 350 parts per million of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. We're closing in on 400 parts per million. It's caused by the burning of oil, of natural gas, of coal, of all the fuels that we use to power our consumer economy, to power the making of crap that we don't need.
This is real, and we really have to do something about it.
We're not going to ever be able to achieve the environmental gains that we're seeking while still expecting our lives to be the same. We're going to have to give up a lot. The secret is that a lot of that we're not actually going to miss.
This segment of the documentary opens with a Walmart parking lot. The parking lot is covered in trash. As they then move on to discuss the environmental harm Americans are causing due to their consumer economy, they begin to show clips of disordered stores, trash, and Black Friday. These images show Americans as almost monsters, constantly seeking more and more stuff. They then move on to clips of the environment, showing the coal emissions from factories, in order to have individuals associate their deteriorating environment as a product of their almost savage consumer economy. Additionally, showing these quick clips of Black Friday, presenting into a black screen, and then showing a man with his clear message that we don't even need the stuff that we are seeking is incredibly powerful. The audience is faced with these almost disturbing clips of individuals trampling each other for stuff, and it's very overwhelming. By then, having a black screen forces these individuals to reflect on what they've just seen and how they even feed into the consumer economy themselves. Moving then into the message behind these clips is more powerful than simply stating it, that we don't need the stuff that we want. Had the documentary chosen instead to relay their message without showing the environment and the shoppers, the audience couldn't see how directly we are hurting the environment, and we wouldn't have been forced to reflect on how what we want is not nearly as important as what it actually means. These strong images were additionally needed as the environmental aspect of minimalism is a huge selling point for many individuals. So they needed additional emphasis on how minimalism affects the environment to bring more people into its cause. Lastly, I will then show a clip related to the content of the film. It discusses meditation as a response to how often individuals are on their phones.
We're ruminating about past and future in a way that keeps us from really connecting with the present moment in a way that values it as good enough. Meditation is a technique of finding well-being in the present moment before anything happens. You can be happy and satisfied simply being aware of the sensation of breathing. Very rarely are we fully dedicated to one thing. We're interrupting ourselves or allowing ourselves to be interrupted by these streams of data and what would in any other context be thought of as distractions, but now we think of them as just sort of all necessary parts of our bandwidth.
This clip was so powerful to me because it discussed mental minimalism. The entire documentary focused around those who had it all and realized that they didn't want their numerous belongings, or it was those who moved into tiny houses or redecorated to have a more calm home atmosphere. However, all these options are for people who can afford to live simply, who can afford to build a new house, and can buy new furniture. This aspect of getting off one's phone to meditate is applicable to anyone coming from any financial status. Limiting distractions to have a minimalist mental environment can be implemented into anyone's daily environment. I know for myself, watching this as a 17-year-old high schooler, I felt that I couldn't do the majority of the actions displayed in the documentary. However, this aspect is totally doable for anyone. Additionally, I liked how the clip showed a peaceful environment of meditation and then contrasted it to people on their phones in the city environment, obviously distracted. This was very powerful to me because it allowed for me to reflect on how often I'm on my phone and I'm not present in my life. It allowed for me to reflect on how I can effectively bring minimalism into my own daily routine. Overall, this documentary claims that minimalism is a freeing concept that allows individuals to disengage from a controlling consumerist society to take control of their own life. It encourages individuals to declutter in order to save the environment and benefit their own mental health. While I felt convinced of many of the claims made in this piece, I also must recognize the counter-argument to minimalism. Kyle Chaika wrote an article called The Oppressive Gospel of Minimalism, in which he stated his own views on the phenomenon. He discussed how the modern minimalism was spawned by the minimalist art movement. I looked into this art and found that similar to Chaika's claims, it provides complex questions to societal constructs. Here is a minimalist painting called Brilliant Yellow No. 9, currently displayed at the Art Institute of Chicago. The painting's content contrasts its title for most. Why is it called Brilliant Yellow when there's only one strip of yellow on the border? However, the painting begs the question of what defines brilliant and allows the viewer to interpret the painting in really any way that they see fit. Cheka argues that the art poses a question, while minimalism today is considered to be the answer. It's the answer to unhappiness, and it actually isn't very minimal at all. Minimalism for many can be simply an interior design trend, in which they buy aesthetic white furniture, which actually still feeds into the consumer culture. While some call themselves minimalists but really only support neutral color schemes, Cheka fails to mention in this article that there are true minimalists out there, like those discussed in this documentary. Minimalism is questioning why we allow for marketing agencies to control our thoughts and control our actions. And so while it may be a more focused question than previous art forms, it still serves to question modern constructs and encourages many different pathways to implementing minimalism into people's everyday lives. I was generally convinced of the documentary's claims as it allowed me to reflect on how much I actually feed into a consumer economy. We all have items we can give away, we can all spend less time on our phones, and we are all capable of implementing minimalism into our everyday routines, even in just a small way. The documentary uses a variety of strategies from audio to visual to just content itself to convince me that minimalism could improve my life, and I hope to see its effects as I try to apply minimalism into my everyday routine. Thank you so much for watching.